Welcome to the channel. Hopefully you're having a great day. I thought today we could have a little more fun and we could create a tier list, a part one of a lot of financial YouTubers that I watch on YouTube or that I've seen before, and kind of how I would rank them in terms of the YouTube media landscape. Now, there's several people you can probably notice are missing from this list, such as the Plain Bagel, Patrick Boyle, Henry, Financial Audit, as in Caleb Hammer. Many of these YouTubers I want to include in a later part, a part two or three, possibly down the road. But I feel like this is a substantial list, and we're going to start with, these are a little bit out of order. We're going to start with CoffeeZilla. And I'm going to move these around just a little. All right, with CoffeeZilla, he's a strong starter because he's different than pretty much any other YouTuber on the list. All the other YouTubers are going to be more discussing finance, stocks, or business. He does describe these categories. However, it's more within the realm of crypto scams and frauds and more legal issues. He does a ton of due diligence, though. Not only are his videos pretty entertaining, but I find them pretty informative. I would say the entertainment factor is the main thing for me. However, it's enough to put him in an S tier. I feel like he does a lot of work on his videos. I find them entertaining, and they're still business related, so I'd give it to him. Next up on the list, you got some YouTubers that a lot of people probably haven't heard of, but this is going to be Roy, Tevis, and Tanner from Future Investing. Now, these guys are more so in the fintech realm. They focus on SoFi, Robinhood, and a lot of other more tech-based stocks like PayPal. I think that they're both pretty entertaining. I think that they're both entertaining, but also educational. They like to have fun, they joke around with each other, but they also provide a lot of insight, which I really value. I think that they break down the companies pretty well. They compare fundamentals and why it's a good or bad earnings, a good or bad time to invest. I think that they break it down pretty well. And I included these three together because they would all be similar placements. However, when it comes together and there's these three or special guests in a group, I feel that they really come into their own as they all bounce ideas back off each other. They're not afraid to kind of contest what each other are saying, and they do a really good job deep diving into the stocks. I can't quite give them S tier. S tier is more so reserved for kind of the OGs of YouTube. They haven't been around enough and they're starting to grow, but they're not quite there yet. I will give them A. I think they provide entertainment and value. Next up, we've got Graham Stephan, arguably one of the bigger YouTubers on this list, if not the biggest. Graham has both the podcast Iced Coffee Hour plus his channel. Now, there's two caveats here. I think, firstly, old Graham talking more real estate, that was of pretty high value and a lot of entertainment. Now, it's a little more clickbaity, I would say, a little more sponsorship based. However, there is still some value. I will give it to him. But the Iced Coffee Hour is where he really comes into his own right now, and that's kind of the saving grace. I would lean B, but he is an OG in YouTube in this finance landscape. He's one of the first of this list here. And so you have to give him that, give him his roses. But then as well, I would also say the Iced Coffee Hour and the guests that he interviews on there does give a pretty good insight into different metrics of business and finance. I really liked the interview he had with Caleb. I thought the interview with Togi was entertaining, and so he does do pretty good entertaining interviews. But he still provides a lot of value through his Ice Coffee podcast, more so than the channel now, but you still get some value there. I'm gonna move Graham into the top of A. I think he's earned it, but I wouldn't say he's quite S. Now we have another more uncommon, probably unknown in a way YouTuber. He's not as mainstream. This is Aswath. This is Aswath Damodaran. I hope I'm saying that right. But he is a professor at NYU. A lot of his videos are very focused on his education lectures. You're not going to get a ton of entertainment value necessarily out of them, but you are going to walk away with a lot of traditional value that you would out of like a college class. So I think that in this list, there's really no one who ranks up to him in that. The issue that I see with his channel is you may just struggle to get through a 40-minute video. If you can sit down and take notes and really listen to what he has to say, because he has so much knowledge, you're going to walk away with a better perspective on whatever topic he's talking about. However, yeah, it is harder to be engaged when it's just a college lecture based video versus these more entertaining YouTubers. So I will put him in A. The value he presents is unprecedented, but not quite. Would I put him over these guys? I would say yeah, he is a little more OG. Next up, we have Joseph Carlson. All right, Joseph to me is entertaining. A lot of people may say, "Oh, I don't find him entertaining. He's just talking about stocks." I would say he's less entertaining than Graham, sure, but the value he presents is crazy. The value he presents is amazing. He talks about all of the company metrics. He really breaks down his reasonings for why he's left positions, for why he's adding new ones, for why he's investing. He has a pretty small select stock portfolio because he rarely misses. He makes really great investing decisions. In terms of being able to grow a growth portfolio, he's kind of the guy I really like to turn to. In terms of growing a growth portfolio, he tends to have pretty good takes on a lot of companies, and I think that he has a lot of value on his channel while being, at least for me, a entertaining YouTuber to watch. So I'm putting him in the S tier. Next up is Finn Carlin. He has a PhD and he commonly talks about valuation. He talks a lot about value stocks and getting good deals on stocks. And I have kind of two trains of ideas on this. Number one, I think he does a really good job in breaking down the companies, as we've seen with a lot of these other YouTubers, right? They do their job very well, and so Sven is great at breaking down companies. The thing is, whenever we had the whole tariff incident, right? This is an example I can think of when I was watching that came to mind. Well, you had Nvidia dropping down to about $89. Well, for me, I kind of read that as potentially a strong bottom indicator. I thought that a lot of the tariffs were in. We were dropping like 200% tariffs on China, something ridiculous like that. For him, it was still not quite to the PE of his liking. In my eyes, I thought this is too good of a valuation to miss up. Now, I don't know what he did with his personal portfolio, but a lot of his videos reflect that everything is too high valuations. I do agree. However, the issue is we may just be trading at a premium right now. And is it worth the risk to miss out on all of the companies because we traded a premium? In my opinion, I think you have to outweigh the good and the bad. I think you have to analyze, and ideally, yes, you would get a great deal on a company. However, sometimes you just have to purchase a really solid company at a premium. So, for that reason, I'm going to put him in the A tier, and I'm going to put him, I'm still putting him here. Yeah, I think that that's a fair position. Okay, next Okay, next up we're going to go and actually skip around, and we're going to go with Grant Cardone. Uh-oh. All right, Grant Cardone, he's a tricky one to rank. He's a tricky guy. I would say all right, I'm not sugarcoating it. Here you go, he goes in D. A lot of Grant Cardone's advice technically would be sound advice on paper. The big issue I see is a lot of what he talks about is real estate. It's just so unaffordable right now for a person to buy a house, let alone an apartment complex or a condo. That, yeah, in theory, if I had millions to buy an apartment or a condo, and then I could flip it and then have another apartment or condo, yeah, I mean, that would be cool, right? But that's not a realistic situation for a lot of people. I mean, heck, even a lot of like people that are really making in life can't do that, right? So that's not super realistic advice, especially not now. And so I don't really feel like his advice is applicable. A lot of his talks feel more seminar-y, and I like to feel like the investors are a little more grounded. I feel like he's not as grounded right now. And he is very successful. He's been in the industry a while. But yeah, I just feel like a lot of it is technically, like, yeah, some of it is really good advice, but I mean, how am I going to get an apartment complex? How am I going to get a duplex? You have to get to the position first. With investing, you can start with $1. You can't just buy an apartment complex for $1. So I'm going to put him in D. I don't think it's super crucial to listen to him. Now we have Alex Hormozy. All right, I think that he's also different from anybody on this list. We're going to put him in B, what we talk about. He's different from anybody on this list because everyone on this list mostly is talking about finance outside of CoffeeZilla. However, Alex more focuses on small business kind of ideas. In a way, it's similar to Grant Cardone, but and that's very different. He's more grounded, and he talks about sleeping on the gym floors and opening his first gym business and stuff. I think a lot of the things, if you watch his longer content where he breaks it down in hour-long, 4-hour-long videos where it's these crash courses for everything you need, I think he has so much value he presents for a small business-minded person that is just awesome content. I think he's also very entertaining. I would put him in A. I think he actually goes pretty high. I think I'm going to put him right below Graham. I think him and Graham are on a similar playing field. However, if we're focusing more on finance, Graham definitely has the edge on that. But I think as far as business, he has the edge on Graham there. So it's a tricky tightrope to walk, but I like that position. All right, and now we have the best for last, Andre. Andre is very similar to Graham Stephan. I think he has entertaining videos, but in my mind, they tend to be a little more clickbaity. Also, he's a little late to the party sometimes. Say an event like COVID happens, right? Everything crashes. It's the worst day in the stock market you've ever seen. 2 days later, he'll come out with a video talking about the worst day you've ever seen in the stock market. And it's like, I know, Andre, I already lived it 2 days ago. We're already well past that. I understand that you can't make videos rapid fire, and he does take a lot of time to edit and stuff, but sometimes it just feels like, I mean, who is this video for? The people who like care about this have already experienced this. They've already gone past it. I'm being a little too critical here, but I think his videos are very entertaining. He does magic tricks. It's fun. It's a good idea, but I don't think he presents as much value as Graham. I come away from his videos not really having my questions answered. If the question of the video was, say, something like, should I pull out all my money right now? What happens if the market crashes? That's kind of like the grabbing your attention I would be talking about when I say he's clickbaity. That would be like the title or the thumbnail or something. And then if I watch the entire 15-minute video, there might be a magic trick, 2 sponsors, and then him comparing data from the past. And then I don't really ever get my question answered. I understand that on YouTube you can't really give a definitive answer to a question like that. You can't really give a definitive answer, period. However, it doesn't feel like the same content it was in the past. For that reason, I'm going to put him in C. I'm being a little harsh here. I know everybody else is in A and S. It's kind of a funny list we have going on. But I guarantee there will be more people that'll join Andre that are going to be lower down the list than him. He's not a bad YouTuber, but yeah, the quality of the content is just not as high as these other guys. Just being honest, like the quality of the content is good in an entertaining and editing factor, but not the substance that it provides. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for part one. Please tune in for part two. And if you feel so inclined, please like the video and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10 subscribers as soon as possible, guys. Hopefully, you'll help me out on that journey. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Have a good night.